Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me again today for day 3 of our mini training series. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. I do have to admit, though, as we're getting started, I've hit a little bit of a snag in that the tree service people decided that this is the perfect time to grind up all kinds of leaves and stumps and everything right outside of my driveway. So we have all kinds of background noise going on. I'm going to just apologize in advance for that and say sorry, but hopefully the information that I'm sharing will more than make up for any inconvenience with hearing a little bit of that grinding in the background. And just know that that's not me disposing of anything that I shouldn't have. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to dive in and get started with just a little bit of a story from my previous one of my previous roles in my sales career. Way back in the day, it was actually 97 through 2001. I sold cars. And it was really a great experience for me because I had the opportunity to work with so many different people. And we worked with everybody from, college kids or high school kids getting their first car, all the way up to corporate executives that were in some of our most highly placed companies here in Kansas City. And I would have so many opportunities to practice all kinds of new sales skills and approaches. And it was a great experience as far as when I think about one of my roles that I learned the most. And one lesson that I learned that was so helpful for me, and it remains probably one of my most helpful lessons up to today, is the fact that there's so much of it that's all about your perspective and how you view opportunities that come your way. And I'm going to give you a really quick example here. This was, again, in 97 through 2001 model year. So this was just when everything was starting to really ramp up with the internet. And I would have so many of my prospects that would go and do all kinds of shopping online. And then they'd come in and they'd have their copy of what our invoice was and their copy of all of the features and everything that they were looking for. And then I would have the dealership information. Now, the challenge always when you're bridging a gap, like they've got their information and you've got yours, is they don't always have the same information. And in a lot of cases, what people would come in and want is not necessarily something that is available immediately. And you were always going to get a better deal on something that is immediately available that the dealer can sell versus something that they don't get out of inventory for another 3 or 4 months if it has to be ordered. So there's always a little bit of that I got to play the go-between during this entire process and help people navigate through this. Now, one of the things that was interesting when I'm talking about it's all in your perspective is I would have coworkers that whenever they would see someone come into the dealership with all their paperwork, they'd have all this information from consumer reports and they'd have file folders full of info. And whenever they bring all this information in, it was funny because my coworkers would see them coming and they would run. And there was one gentleman that actually helped me shift my perspective, and I thank him for that to this day, because he pointed out to me one day as I'm watching everybody scatter, and this was when I had first started, he said, what they don't recognize is the fact that these are buyers. They're not shopping anymore. They've spent hours. They've gone down this journey in their mind about, do I want to buy a new car? And the answer is yes. Which car do I want to buy? And they've looked at their options and they've narrowed it down to probably a couple. And now your job is to help them experience ours and stack it up against the competitors and make the case for why we're the better one. And when he helped me understand and recognize the fact that by getting someone that was far enough down the path, the thing is people would come in before they did their research and do the driving. And in a lot of cases, they'd then have to leave and go and research. So we flip-flopped it to where they'd already done all of that research and they'd already checked everything out. And by the time they came in, they were ready to do something, as long as I could show them why my car was a better fit over the Honda or the Nissan, whatever it is that was the comparable product to what it was I was selling. So what I discovered then, and what I think is even more relevant to how today's buyer is changing how they do things. Back then it was just getting started with people doing all of this research online and having access to all of these different avenues and different solutions and different approaches that they could take to their business and to solving problems. Well, now we're a lot more sophisticated, and I think there's a lot more buyers that are doing all of this shopping before they pick up the phone or before they reach out and engage with you. They've already gotten a really solid understanding of what they're looking to accomplish, what their problem is, and what they think the solution is. And in some cases, they may have already tried to solve this problem. And by the time you get to them, hopefully they're savvy enough that they recognize, okay, I think this will work. And then your job is to help facilitate and make that bridge and bring them the right solution. Now, how all of this plays into our topic for today is we are talking about referral relationships, and we are also talking about social selling. And I talk to so many different professional business developers or even accountants or attorneys that they see everything happening and they just don't want to play. They don't want to participate. They don't want to be on LinkedIn. They don't want to be on Facebook. It's all that stuff. It's a waste of time. Okay? It may be a waste of time for some people, but it's probably not a waste of time for your prospects, because they're going to be engaging in these social networks, asking questions, because it's where I can go and post a question and say, hey, anybody got a good plumber? And within 2 hours, I have 10 people raising their hands and giving me direct introductions to their favorite plumber, that if that plumber's pretty savvy, he's connected to his clients on Facebook. Because that happens all the time. And that's a real life example that actually just happened about 2 days ago. So what I want you to think about is whether or not this buyer journey, how soon do you want to actually be brought into the loop and have the ability to build a relationship with your perfect prospect? Now, if you think about how sales is working today, about 2/3 of the buyer journey is done. I mean, the stats are somewhere around 76%. And, this is not an example of 74% of statistics are made up on the spot. There was a real study done by HubSpot that was talking about the nature of business development and prospecting in 2018 and in 2019. And that's where I share a lot of the stats and insight that I'm sharing with you, because it's great information that you need to be aware of how people are engaging so that you meet them where they want to be. And all too often in business development, what we do is we like to build our product. We like to build our systems. We like to build our process. We like to build our marketing. And it's all about us. And it's all about me, 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 me. And that's great. Except if you're broadcasting this, it's kind of like I talked to you about in the mini training session from yesterday. This is not about you. This is about your prospects and about what they're trying to accomplish. And how can you help them fulfill their hopes and dreams through your solution? That's what you're looking to do. Now, let's talk about how referral partners play into that and how you can take advantage of the opportunities that are present with how today's buyers are working. Now, what I want you to think about is how often it takes you to engage with a prospect before they say, all right, that's it, I'm in. Where's the contract? Here's my checkbook. I'm good to go. All right, think about that. So if you think about what this process is, in a lot of cases, it may take you a couple meetings, maybe a few weeks. Maybe they've got to go back and organize their team and figure out the lay of the land internally. Maybe, like an example, one of my clients is a banker. And if her client goes back and their bookkeeping is a mess, well, she's going to have a really hard time getting them a loan. So there are sometimes maybe obstacles in place, and these obstacles exist. And the question is whether or not they're going to stand in your way, or whether or not you can use those as an opportunity to build a deeper relationship with your clients. So what that might look like is, if we stick with the example of a banker, we know that there's really not a lot of fun to be had in dealing with bankers. They've got a whole lot of nosy questions. They're second guessing everything that you give them. They want everything backed up and proven 6 different ways. And in some cases, if there's one little bitty error, then your deal's toast. So it gets complicated, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of intimidating, because in some cases in most cases, you're probably getting a loan for something that you really, really need or want. So when you think about it, if you're a banker and you're trying to help your prospect come to you as the banker of choice for what their lending needs or borrowing needs are, then they've got to recognize that you are the solution for them. And remember, we don't want it to be about rate, because if you win business on price, you're going to lose business on price. We want it to be based on value and on what they can accomplish and about how great the experience is in working with you. So if you think about all of these different obstacles that come up, and you're a banker, you know that your best referrals come from people who have either been clients of yours in the past and have been able to share their experience in working with you, or it's coming from the professionals that are helping them prepare for whatever that lending need is. So if you're a mortgage lender, your best referral partners are probably coming from the real estate world. These are people that they're buying a house, they're really wanting to buy a house, they're getting pre-qualified, and that realtor is going to be working their tail off to sell them a house really, really quickly. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you make it as seamless as possible and a phenomenal experience, so that that real estate agent recognizes that by working with you, they get more deals done and their clients are a lot happier with the overall experience. Recognizing that the worst part of buying a house is probably dealing with the mortgage and figuring all of that stuff out. So what I want you to think about is what are the different things that you can bring to the process through using thought leadership and content that will help your customers really have an amazing experience and help that realtor be a lot more productive with their time. Because the realtor doesn't want to be chasing down every single client, making sure that they get all their bank statements to you. I mean, that's your job when you're the lender. Well, think about how you can create opportunities to onboard from the very beginning stages. And this is really well done in the mortgage industry. And I'm sharing a lot of insight that if you're in that industry, you're like, well, we're already doing that. Well, yes, you figured it out. And there's a lot of the rest of us that are maybe a little bit late to the dance. And we can learn from you in those cases. And I'm encouraging you to look at what other professionals are doing with their content and with creating tools. Or, you think about it, it's like worksheets, something that's going to help your prospect recognize just where and how they need to prepare. And again, this is all part of the buyer journey. It's going to help them discover what their issue is. It helps them figure out in the whole priority of all the challenges that they're dealing with, just where this problem fits. Is it in the top 5? Is it not even making the cut? Did it not even make the list? Is it so insignificant and trivial? All of that is really important information for you to know. And these are all tools that you can create throughout your own. When you're talking about creating your content, this is what you need to be thinking about. I don't want you to prepare another basically marketing piece that talks about how great you are and gives you the 5 different product offerings that you have, because that's not relevant. What you need to do is all of your content needs to be designed around how you help your prospects navigate their journey. That's what this is all about. All right. Now, what I want you to think about as you look at this, though, is if you think about, we talked yesterday about people come in and they're at the top and they're at this funnel. And the funnel starts big and then it gets narrower. Now, your referral partners can do a lot to bring you prospects that are already excited about doing business with you. And you want to help them do that. So now there are a couple of different ways that you can get referred. Now, it may be as simple as, I was driving by and it looks like there's a business down the street that they look like they're bursting at the seams. I think that'd be a good person for you to call on if you're a commercial realtor. Okay, well, that's great. Who do you know there? Well, I really don't know anybody. I was just driving by and I saw and thought it might be a lead and I thought I'd share it with you. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that do that and they think I did you a solid. And where really all you did is you wasted time. And what I want you to think about when you're looking at finding opportunities for your referral partners is I want you to think about how do you model what you want them to do for you. So for example, we talked about that first example you can say, here's somebody that you might want to call on. Or have you ever considered going after this market? I don't know anybody there, but hey, it's an idea. And if you got time on your hands and you don't know who to call, there you go. I just helped you out. Okay, well, that really doesn't help you in terms of finding that perfect prospect that fits the profile of being platinum or at the very least gold. And it doesn't help you with, again, getting to them when they're already moving down that funnel or that journey of getting to, yes, I want to hire you because I know you're the right solution. So that's what we consider kind of like at 10 or 20% investment of influence. That means somebody hasn't really done much to help you. And then you may work up a little bit more where they actually 30% they share, hey, John is the COO over there and I belong to a networking group with him and here's what he shared with me. Give him a call. And then at 40%, it's you can call John and you can use my name and suggest that the two of us connect. And then you move up even a little further. And at 50% is where you're actually starting to have influence invested in you. And by influence is two different things. It is who you are and what you've accomplished and kind of that status. It's the influence that's a noun. And, it's kind of like when you get to that point, you've arrived, you've got influence. Well, that's cool. But what are you going to do with it? Because influence as a verb is what you need your referral partners doing for you. Because when it's there as a verb, these are people that are influencing business to happen. They're bias or swaying someone on your behalf to do business with you. So at 50%, it's where when that introduction is made, there's a connection behind it. And I think you should talk to John. Here's what I am happy to share with him about what I know of how you've helped others that have gone through similar situations or dealt with similar challenges. Now, when you have that introduction that's made and you have a conversation with John, that's when you've probably got a pretty good shot at getting some business from it. Now, 50% is pretty cool. I mean, like I said, you may have if it's a referral partner that has influence over that prospect, and if John really does fit that prospect profile of being platinum based on where he's at in his business and what he's trying to do, your odds are pretty good. Well, I like that. I like 50% or better, but I like getting it even better. So if you think about it, you can move it up even more to where your referral partners and center of influence relationships are bringing you clients. They're not bringing you prospects. Now, what this looks like, so I had one example, got one of my clients that I, have dearly loved working with him over the years, and he works with organizations on their strategic intelligence. And he gets hired for a lot of money to help people determine what their strategic plan is, what markets are they going after, who their competitors are. And he introduced me within one of our local, very large organizations. And I met one of the senior VPs that were reported directly to the CEO. And it was funny because I really didn't know a lot going into this meeting. I went into the meeting and I said, hey, I'm excited to help you. I know, that Carl shared with me that you've got some stuff going on that he thought I might be able to bring value to the process. So what is it that you most want to accomplish while we're having our conversation today? Because I want to make sure that I'm as helpful for you as possible. And so Ron, the prospect, turns to me and he says, we pay Carl about $500,000 a year, to him and his company, to tell us where we're supposed to be going and how we're going to get there. And he told me that I'd be dumb if I didn't hire you to help with the sales challenge that we're dealing with right now. And I really don't know exactly what you do, except I know that Carl's never steered me wrong. And your budget's $120,000, and we got 35 people we want to work with. So let's build a pilot program around what that would look like. Okay, well, that was my biggest opportunity in my career up to that point. Those were numbers that I hadn't even ever heard of before. And I had a prospect that's basically saying, here it is, it's all yours. And all I had to do was figure out what to do with it. Now, think about your referral partners and whether or not they're making that kind of introduction for you. Because what I didn't recognize until later on down the path is that I thought the prospect was hearing about me for the first time the week before when the introduction was made. But what had happened is Carl had laid the foundation and the groundwork so that by the time I got there, that prospect had already done his research on my background. He knew exact examples of organizations that were going through the same challenge he had navigated or was looking to navigate that I had helped. He liked the approach. He liked the outcome. So all of that work had already been done by Carl before I ever even had a conversation. Now, that's why it's so important for you to participate in social selling, because this is where you're able to provide value to your prospects. You are able to help them quantify their challenge, understand where it fits in their priority, understand how to get all of their people on board with moving forward. Because if you have a complex solution, then you have to think about all of the different things that could go wrong before you would get to a closed deal. And ideally, your referral partners are going to help you navigate through all of those obstacles. What are some of the, again, biggest challenges that they have with getting their quacks in a stack so that they can work with you? That's what you need to think about when you're preparing all of your content. And you share that information with your referral partners. And then in your conversations with your referral partners, you're digging more into where they intersect within your perfect prospect and figuring out how do you help enhance that. So it's one of those cases of it's all about the context and it's all about the relevance of what information that you're bringing and how you're engaging with your referral partners. Because your referral partners have the opportunity to make such a huge difference in your prospecting effort. This is where, again, you can meet with great opportunities that your sales cycle is literally measured in a lunch meeting. They come into the meeting, you really didn't know them, you don't know where they've been, you don't know where they're going, you don't know what they're doing, but your referral partner has already laid that foundation so that you can just roll up your sleeves and go to work helping them. Now, when you approach relationships in that way, I'm going to ask, is that a lot more satisfying than having to convince someone that you actually know what you're talking about? And isn't it so much better and so much more productive than having to explain how to go about doing things? You know, when you can actually dig in and do amazing work. And isn't it great to meet people that really appreciate the amazing work that you can do? And that's what referral relationships can do for you. And I really encourage you to take the information that I've shared with you over the past 3 sessions and think about what referral partnerships, what impact can they make on your prospecting effort. And if this is something that you feel can make an impact with you, I would be honored to participate with you on figuring out exactly what that looks like, what that right path is. And I've had so many professionals that I've had the privilege of working with over the years that have experienced just life-changing results. That's basically what my clients tell me. You took something that I hated doing. It was like every fiber of my being said, I'm not a salesperson. And I helped them recognize that it could be fun and they could be very productive and they could be really, really good at it. So what was the worst part of their day became the best part of their day. That's one of the things that I am the most proud of, that I have helped professionals accomplish that. And if you're a business developer and you groove on cold calling, well, you probably logged into the wrong presentation, because I am really here to serve people that don't have time to waste. They don't have time to chase down opportunities that really aren't excited to do business with them. So if this is you, if you're someone that is determined that referral partnerships are the way to go, and getting your clients to become your free salespeople that are raving about how amazing you are, I can teach you how to get that. And I've got a process that has delivered over and over and over and over. And I've been just so blessed to be a part of this journey and to see what people have accomplished through these relationships, because they truly can transform your life and give you a completely different business that is so far beyond your expectations. You just can't imagine it. And that's what I've been so excited to see over the years. And I do want to say thank you so much for taking time with me today. I've shared some insight with you on, we started in with the first day about being super intentional about who you want to work with and why. And who I want to work with, I want to work with professionals that are really good at what they do. And they don't want to have to go around telling everybody how good they are. They want other people to be making that case. And why people want to work with me? Well, it's because they don't have time to waste. Most of my clients are going to be making anywhere from $200 to $250 an hour or more in their billable rate. And they don't want to invest 10 hours in somebody that's not going to result in business. And the professionals that I work with, they fit into that category. They want to make sure that every activity that they do, every phone call that they make, every coffee meeting that they go on, every client relationship that they're looking to expand is going to get them the most benefit. And that's what I'm here to help you do. And the journey for doing this, I'm going to share a link below in the comments for our recorded session today. And also, if you received the invite via email, there was a link there. We've got a deadline today for joining with one of my webinars that's getting ready to kick off. And we're going to be starting next week. And I've got some pretty cool folks that are already a part of this. And I would love for you to join this great community of truly extraordinary professionals that have really discovered the key to building an amazing business is through helping the other right people in their world get what they want. And then they're accomplishing their goals at the same time. I want to say thank you so much for participating with me during these 3 days and these conversations. And I'm going to remind you that to get what you want, you have got to help others get what they want. Have a great day, and I really wish you good selling. Take care. Bye-bye.